Welcome to Cerulean Arts Gallery. Tonight we're speaking with Kathy Craig in conjunction with her current Cerulean Arts Collective Exhibition, which is on view through December 3rd. Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. So we're going to venture into your show here. So how did you come to painting to begin with?
I didn't start painting. I didn't start doing any kind of drawing or, oh, there I am, or anything until I was 30 or older. I think I took a drawing class kind of for fun and I just loved it. I was engaged on another career at the time, so I took classes and I learned a lot, but I didn't really get rolling until I was about 40 when I had 3 kids, and my day job was not a good way to fall back on. Not something good to fall back on when you had 3 crazy kids at home. So I started to paint because I love doing it, and I still love doing it.
So what do you have a theme for the work in this show, or is it tell us about it?
It's actually almost all of them have been made this past 12 months, say, or 12 and a half months. So since last summer, I've been thinking about cobalt blue a lot. It's because I admire John Walker's work, and I don't know, I just saw a picture of his and I just thought, oh my God, he's very abstract, and but it's a lot of cobalt, and it just entranced me. And so I thought, I'm allowed to use cobalt. I can use a lot of, brilliant blue and see what happens. And so I guess about half the pieces are from, say, 6 months ago until now, where everyone is sort of experimenting with using that incredible, intense, moving color. But as a whole, I have been working very happily with the idea of what I'm calling like a good start, so that I've been trying for years to get out of the bad habit of overworking things and getting them so they wind up stiff or focusing too much on detail before I get the whole picture. It's hard to explain how I've been feeling, but I haven't been feeling good. My paintings, I want them to look natural, and no matter how long I work on them, I want them to look like I had fun doing them and that they were just a flow. So one workshop I remember taking was really, the teacher just made everybody stop before they were finished. He said, always stop before you're finished. And I remembered that, and I thought, okay. And when I get something, just start working on something, and then I think, ooh, that's a good start. This is going to be good. Instead of trying to finish it, I just leave it alone and come back the next day or 2 weeks later or sometime and see if anything else has to be done to it to make it good, but without trying to finish it.
So it seems your work so Kathy, it seems your work like borders representation and abstraction.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Like, how do you approach, is it the subject or the painting or both, that when you
everything starts with some subject or other, but it's almost irrelevant because by the time I get the painting done, I can't even remember what the subject originally was supposed to be. But if I don't have it, I don't know how to, I'm not good at just making things up. And since it winds up being pretty abstract, I may want to use blue, but I still don't. I'm still thinking about the seashore where I am in the summer, or my neighborhood, or even a still life, plants or something. But the advantage of making a relatively quick, good start is it can look like something quite different before you not locking myself into a set subject really allows me to assess the painting as a painting and not feel obliged to keep painting that particular bunch of flowers or table or whatever it is I was originally looking at or remembering.
So the subject's more of a starting off point?
Yeah, like this one, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was thinking of when I started, but the little cat, the yellow sort of cat figure just showed up. And I thought, okay, this looks like a chaotic scene, possibly created by the cats, but
Uh-huh.
also thinking of some events in my personal life where things had gone very badly for one of my kids. And then mainly I was thinking about gray and yellow. I like using gray and yellow together.
So in your artist statement, you mentioned that early on you were afraid of color.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really know it from these.
It's been a while. But that's right. I
So
just didn't know.
what was the icebreaker?
I don't know. I learned, color opposite. I learned how to mix color and everything. I just when I tried to use bold colors, I just couldn't make them look right. I just was nervous about it, I guess. And I think I started doing some collages, which, it's easier to use these bright scraps of paper and you just put them down without even gluing them and they look terrific. And so you begin to, it helps you in a lot of ways, but one way is to loosen up about color.
Hmm.
But it was so long ago now that I can't even remember much about how the transition took place. It was sort of a last frontier. I felt like I kind of got a grip on a lot of things that I wanted to learn. And this was one thing I had, hadn't gotten very far with. And I felt that my work was kind of dull. So
this image is more representational.
yeah. I was trying to do something sort of based on my backyard, and I've just recently, past couple of years, moved to Cleveland, and I'm living in a Cleveland Heights neighborhood, which is a very typical neighborhood for the area, of a lot of houses pretty close together with high fences in between them. And in our case, the fences existed when we bought the house, and none of the 3 fences that bound our backyard are the same because they're built by the neighbors. So I guess I got interested in fences, and fences is almost kind of a frame, and also then just seeing what would happen and playing with the color.
So the paint texture seems to be important as well. Like the thick or thin, or the direction, gesture.
A bit, yeah. I like paint strokes to look like they're paint strokes if I can make it happen. And I've never enjoyed being a very careful drafts person. I would just get impatient because I like the gesture. I like getting the idea. I felt really comfortable trying to get the idea, say, of a figure standing there or something, just the feel of it, the way they're about to move or not move. But then I would be bored with trying to make everything just right. So part of what I'm doing is allowing the awkwardness of not particularly careful drawing to be part of what I'm doing. And that can evolve. And that way you can use thick paint, thin paint, scraped paint, whatever. And that makes for a another more interesting stuff.
So do you approach these directly, or do you make any studies ahead of time, or do you start
Never.
painting?
No studies. I do studies in the middle, like if I think I want to know how to figure out how to draw what a truck looks like or something, sit there, grab a piece of charcoal and try to draw what I'm thinking about. Or I can't remember even how a rug looks if it's doubled over. I'd have to get a rug, double it over, and draw it for a while till I feel comfortable with it.
So you sort of plow into the painting first and then
Yeah.
way
If
out
I find I want to draw something that I can't draw, I'll practice drawing it for a while first or try to work it out. But I don't do real studies, because if I did, I would feel I had to stick with them, and trying to stick with the original idea never works for me.
Mm-hmm. So are you working on more than one painting at a time, or just one at a time? Mm-hmm.
Because if I work for a couple hours and I find I'm in a good place, I stop and then have to pick up something else if I have the time. So there are usually a bunch of things sitting around, and I'll just decide what I'm going to start with today and see what I need to do to it. Or sometimes I ruin it and, wind up having to start all over, find a new good start.
Yeah. Do you scrape them down or just keep painting on top?
I scrape if they're still wet, I can scrape, or I sand them. I use the sander a lot. And also, a razor blade where you just scratch off, if it's too wet to sand, and not wet enough to really paint in, not wet enough to wipe off. Oh, that was just, I saw something that looked like a plane, and a friend of ours gave my grandson a giant plane, like a wooden plane, which they don't know what to do with, so it's in our garage. That's why I'm calling it in the garage.
Huh.
It started as a bird's nest, and then I again was playing with gray and yellow. But the yellow plane didn't work, so it's pink.
You seem very comfortable changing and inventing and removing and.
Yeah, if I don't do that, then things get very stiff indeed. I have a new friend, who's a geometric abstract painter with everything very exact and pure and precise. And it's stunning. It's beautiful, but no way I could do that. Yeah, it's trying to turn what you have, you might call natural disadvantages, to good use. Take advantage, just push what you've got. And what I have is inventiveness and floppiness. I can't worry about trying to be neat, because it's never going to happen.
No,
So,
I mean, you sort of find your style by backing into it, not really choosing.
yeah,
Just sort of, well, I'm not this, not that. So
it's kind of like a version of analysis or something. If you were getting, I would imagine, I've never done that, but you learn to get to know yourself better, and you learn to find out what kind of a painter you are by acknowledging, what you can do, what you can't do.
Right, accepting it.
Yeah.
And this one is rockweed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Summer in Nova Scotia, where rockweed, the world is really rockweed, rocks, and maybe trees, and of course the ocean. So I'm always trying to play with the rockweed, which can be all kinds of yellow. One day you think it's greenish yellow, and one day it's cadmium yellow medium, and then one day it'll be almost orange. So
it's a weed up there.
Yeah, rockweed, in the water, all those bubbly looking seaweed things that float around in the ocean.
this is called rockweed. It grows on rocks. And
I
if
see.
you're in a boat, like a small boat, the rockweed, if there's rockweed floating on the water, you know there's a rock under there.
Ah,
It's
okay.
one of the ways you have of guiding yourself around is, oh, there's rockweed. I better change my path or something in case you don't want to run into a rock. So it becomes an important part of your life.
Mhm. So this last painting, Fog Bank, changed quite a bit from like the first
Yes. Yeah.
incarnation. Yeah, it became a completely different painting.
Yes. Yes, I did that with a couple of them. Yeah,
So
I'm trying to remember what it looked like before.
like, do you take pictures along the way for your reference or to remember, or does that matter?
Yeah, I do take pictures. Some partly because I really enjoy looking at things and drawing them. Usually I do kind of blind contour drawing and not look at the paper so that, kind of feeling my way with my eyes and trying to let my hand follow pretty much. But anyway, I do take a lot of photos. So, but the idea of rocks and whether that's foam or fog or what it is, it's um,
It's a pretty lush
pretty
surface.
standard. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't know, I began to think, oh, I was looking too realistic. But when you look at it, it's actually a lot of paint marks and changes in the way that all that blue is portrayed. So I thought I'd leave it like that.
Yeah, your work definitely has a object quality. It becomes a thing just from the color and texture, regardless of what it depicts.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd probably be an abstract painter, except I can never think of anything. And I'm so right-brained that I'm always seeing, describable things, a
Mhm.
dog, a fish, a rock, something, and I can't get it out of my head that it's there. So
Yeah, so you bounce off of reality.
yeah, it just keeps being there. It's like talking to yourself. The words just keep coming. So
Well, it's a great show. Thanks so much, Kathy.
very nice of you to tell me that.
Well, it's
I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed doing all those pieces, and it's nice to really enjoy your work.
yeah, it looks great. So the show is up through December 3rd, and we hope everyone can come down and check it out. All right. Well, thanks again and have a great night.
Thank you. You too.